Hey everyone, this is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert, coming back to you live with a Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. I don't think I've had tea for a long time. This is protein again. I am back from the NMSDC conference in New Orleans last week. It was a record breaking week. It was crazy. I had like 30 sales conversations in 3 days. It was back to back to back to back. And Allison QB, if you're watching this, listening to this, my partner in crime, as I call her, from Capital One, who has been my sort of beacon of light and has sponsored me for all of these events that were appearing together, including the one next week in Washington, two next week in Washington. And I had a ball. We're really getting comfortable with our shtick. We're picking up new outfits that are red for all these different events. It's been a lot of fun. And what's even more rewarding is that I've gotten so many messages from people who have reached out to me either while they saw me there or afterwards, who have emailed me to say that from our session, they actually changed what they were going to say in their matchmakers, and their elevator pitch changed, their messaging changed, and they were actually able to secure some next meetings, if not outright interest in actual contracts. So I'm so blessed to do what I do. I'm so blessed to be able to help, and I'm so blessed that I have a champion like Allison to take me to these places so that we can actually help more people. Because the more visible this message is around what to say, what not to say, how to get in, how to get interest, the more business owners hear this, the more they can embrace it, and it's just a win-win for both them and for the companies that they're actually pitching, because they want you to win, especially at the diversity circles. I mean, everybody wants you to win. It's such a supportive environment. That's not to say that it's not competitive, but it's supportive. It's supportive because they want you to succeed. Everybody in that building wanted it. Everybody, all those business owners, all those MBEs to succeed. So today, because I just come back from having 30 sales conversations. One thing that kept popping up a lot, because what I do is I help around sales and marketing. So I'm a sales and marketing fractional CMO. But what that means is I had a lot of these conversations with a lot of these multi-million dollar companies that, the founders came and they signed up to talk to me afterwards. And and a few of them hired me. So one of the key common things that I found was that they are struggling to get some things out of their relationship with their ad agency. And these CEOs are in recognition of something that's missing in terms of their strategy, their direction, the focus, and of course the results from these funnels that these agencies are building. But they just don't know what. So I just thought I'd put this together because for 18 years I worked exclusively with ad agencies. I worked with all of them all over the world, from the smallest one to the biggest ones. I've been wined and dined and, golfed to death by all of them. I mean, this is in the days of when they used to wine and dine and golf. It's a little bit different now, but nothing has changed in terms of what an ad agency can do, should be doing, and not doing. And I wanted to clarify it on this Tuesday Tea Time because it's a huge frustration. And it's a huge frustration for the ad agencies, and it's a huge frustration for the clients. So let me just start first by taking a sip of my protein, which I reheat. I've been nursing and reheating, and topping up with more protein. I'm telling you, it's like this non-ending. It's like what were those cakes that you chain cake? Was it called a chain cake? Bizarre and not very COVID friendly thing that we did when we were little. Okay, so here's what happens. A company they want more sales. So in order to get more sales, they want more visibility, and they want a funnel. and they want leads to come into that funnel. And they also sometimes want brand equity if they know what that is. So what happens is they hire an ad agency. And because the kinds of businesses that I was talking to were between 5 to 15 million, so they're not the big guys, they end up hiring their size. So, their size or smaller kind of agencies. And so their size and smaller kind of agency is looking to their client to give them the information so that they can go and do the work. And the information that they're looking for from the client is often, who is your target? What is your positioning? What's different about you? And what are the key words that we can use to market you? And so what makes you unique, who the target, all of that. Now, the sad part is that the client thinks that they hired the agency to give them those answers. But what they don't realize is all the things that I'm going to tell you. So here's what, and that they think, the client thinks that they hired the agency to figure this out. But that is not what's happening. So both parties are frustrated and they're waiting for the information to come from each other. And it's just a circle, and it just keeps going, vicious circle that keeps going round and round, and nothing ever happens. What actually ends up happening is people just end up in frustration guessing at what their strategy needs to be. Either the agency guesses just to get paid and to finish the project, or the client guesses. Either way, it's a guess. It's based on a guess. And what ends up happening is very expensive funnels are built, very pretty websites are built, very nice social media goes out, but it never converts. And this, by the way, I've also spoken to a lot of companies that they have internal marketing departments that are having this issue, that all of the marketing is being done, but it's not really actually translating into an actual sales or a, big company CEO sales appointment. Okay, so let me just try to educate you. I feel like I really do have a grasp on what an ad agency, especially a small one, that the kinds of clients that I was talking to are working with, has access to. This is what they do, and this is what they don't do. So what agencies don't have is they don't have the strategic skills or the process to find your best target market. They don't. When I worked for 18 years for Pepsi, Pizza Hut, Frito-Lay, we had either our own internal insights department, or we worked with research companies. I mean, serious, hardcore research companies, and not just one, but multiple ones. And increasingly, those moved internal to insights departments because it's the bloodline. It is the heart of an entire marketing department. And in fact, when most consumer goods, which is where I worked, are run by consumer insights, that's when every new product is a hit. So how does that look like for a B2B company? Well, they're not as sophisticated and as developed in that arena as consumer products companies, because it's way more competitive. It used to be that's where all of marketing and marketing strategy started, was with the Procter and Gambles and the Unilevers. So getting back to what agencies don't have, they don't have those smaller agencies. They don't have the strategic skills in the process to find the best target market for your company. What they do have is they have ideas. Once you tell them what they are, or once you work with a strategist to figure that out, and you tell them this is my target industry, then they have ideas on how to reach them with creative tools. They can come up with all sorts of very creative ideas on how to reach that target. So that's number one. What agencies don't have is they don't know how to find, they don't have the processes or the skill set to figure out the target. Number two, now, the second thing that I know that they don't have, and I've also heard from clients, is they don't have, again, the ability or the process to speak firsthand to your buyers, to your decision makers that you're targeting in your focused industries. And the reason why it's so important for them to have that firsthand contact is because we need to figure out their pain language. Pain language, 70% of humans purchase based on pain. If we can't figure out the pain language for a certain industry around a certain issue that you solve, then you have no content that's relevant to them. You're just going to be using generic words that everybody in this tree does, that doesn't make you stand out, doesn't make you own a pain point, any of that. So what ad agencies, again, they don't have is the ability or the process to speak to your horse's mouth. What they do have is, once a strategist helps you, or somebody helps you, or even like bigger research companies can do this, or larger agencies that have this capability can do the insights piece, even if it's B2B, and then tell the, brief the ad agency to say, here's who the target is, and here's what their pain is, and here's what their pain language is around that problem. Then the ad agency, what they do have is creative ways to include that language in the content. So creative ways to do content and creative ways to include that language. Number three of what ad agencies don't have is, they don't have the strategic ability to position your company, to differentiate you. Again, they can decide on the font, they can decide on the vehicle, they can decide on the colors and the brand, but the actual strategy of what problem are you going to own in which space in this market, where's the gap in the market that you're going to position yourself into, they don't have the process and the capability and the know-how to be able to figure that out. They expect you to know that, especially the smaller ones that are working with my clients. They are looking to you. So anytime you're hiring anybody at all that has anything to do with marketing, whether that's just an SEO person, whether that's just a web designer, whether that's just a social media person, they're going to ask you these questions, and you're going to guess at them, or you're going to expect them to know all this or to figure it out. And most of the time, the hard truth is, they don't have the know-how, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the process. They're just going to look at your competitors to put together some sort of guess of what you could be at, what you could be doing. So they don't have the ability to position the company and to differentiate you. But what they do have is, once you give them that differentiator and say, we own this problem, the solution to this problem, very specific in this industry, then they have a creative way to showcase your positioning once you've told them what that is. So again, once you give them the tools, they have the creativity to make that, bring it to light, to bring that message to light. But you have to give them the target, the positioning, the pain language, the messaging, all of that. And lastly, the number four, what they don't have is, again, the strategic skills, or sometimes even the understanding that they don't know what they don't know. So some agencies, or marketing, I don't know if they're agencies, but people who give marketing services, they don't even know that there's an actual strategic process to figure out who's the target, who's the most likely to buy, to grow and triple your business within the next year. They don't know or have even any knowledge that there's such a thing as a strategist. I mean, I've met so many people, both agency side and actual client side, who've said to me, like, where have you been? Where have you been all my life, kind of thing. Like, I never even knew such a thing existed. So many people said that to me during those 30 sales conversations. But what they do have, so they don't even know or have the understanding that sometimes this job belongs to a strategist. And I often liken it to when in Toronto you're building a home, you have to go to the city to get a permit to build a home. And you cannot get a permit to build a home without having a certified, I don't know if they're certified, I mean, a professional architect drawing that, is a registered, certified, whatever they are, like legal standing in the city, an actual architectural professional drawing. You can't even get a permit to build. But yet businesses, I mean, and that's what I liken myself, is I'm the strategist. I will figure out which, beam goes where, which post goes where, how far is the perimeter. These are like structural things. I figure out these structural things, And then I give them to the trades, which is, the contractor. So the ad agency to me is the contractor to the strategist. Now, the big agencies, they have these strategists, I think they're called planners. So I think they might have different titles for them now. But all that to tell you is that sometimes they don't know what they don't know if they're too small. And so what they do have is, unfortunately, they have helpless frustration when they're faced with all the questions from the client that they think should know their business. But if you're not an architect, you don't know how to figure all this out. And you're just trying to throw spaghetti at the wall and guess at who your target is, where to position yourself, what the pain is, and so on. So, and it took me decades to come by this kind of knowledge and training. And even at the big companies that I used to work at, a lot of the times my bosses didn't even know any of this stuff. It took a lot of, reading on my own, training, and then working for some of the bigger brands that I worked at to be able to put it all together and then to be able to package it into a small business B2B format. So I hope that's helpful, because I want clients that I meet, small businesses, to stop assuming that they're going to be getting these things from the agency. And I want the agencies to stop being frustrated and to say it right up front that this is something that they're going to need from the client, and this is not something that they're going to guess, because it never ends up pretty when you're guessing. So, my friends, I'm off again next week. I'm not going to be here, but after that, we will meet you back here for another Tuesday tea time, and I will regale you with my adventures in Washington, D.C., which I've never been to. Thank you and take care. All the best.